Welcome, everyone. I think it's going to be a very intimate evening, or I'm sorry, late afternoon. And so let's make it informal. We have, the professionals are behind us. If you have a question at any time, you can either put your hand up or just shout it out. But I'm going to forewarn you because it's very ironic that I'm emceeing a food show. You only have to inquire from my wife, Anna, who knows that my cooking capabilities are close to zero. So the fact that I'm hosting, and I'll probably ask some dumb questions, but, I think this could be fun. So my job is to kind of move along, try to have some fun along the way. And it's a small crowd, but I think you can all sit. You can stand up even at certain times to watch what Susi, Meri, or Nicki are doing. And I think the key here is that we all learned something today. And, the biggest learner could be me. So let's introduce our esteemed panel of chefs this afternoon. First, representing the Estonian community, we have Susi Holmberg. And then, of course, we have the very esteemed Vatikiotis family, who have been here at Tartu College now for, I believe, 45 years. That must be a record in the restaurant business here in Toronto to be in one place for 45 years. And it's been a great pleasure to have them all this time. So let's introduce Nicki Vatikiotis and her daughter Meri, who we all know, Meri Koinis.
Thank you.
So before we get started, I went to that that wonderful the internet that tells you everything. Typed in Greek cuisine, went to Wikipedia, and I got all these great facts. I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but I'll give you a couple. Did you know that the very first cookbook was Greek? So the first cookbook was goes all the way back to 320 BC. So I think that's quite an accomplishment, right? To have the very first cookbook. And of course, Greek culture, Greek cuisine has a very long history. Their cuisine is probably at least 4,000 years old. And it's a culture that has given us Alexander the Great. It's given us Greek culture, art. It's given us Greek philosophy. And of course, it's given us my big fat Greek wedding. So, you didn't come here to listen to me ramble on. So let's go and start with Meri and Nicki. And so Meri, what are we making this afternoon?
So we are going to start with Spanakopita. That's our traditional appetizer for the Greeks. We're going to basically have Nicki tell us her secret recipe.
So we should all know about Nicki, and there's hope for everyone, even myself, because when she was a younger woman, she didn't like cooking.
Exactly.
Am I correct, Nicki?
Yeah.
Didn't like cooking. Met Peter, came to Canada, got married with Peter, and they opened up a restaurant, and all of a sudden she found herself in the kitchen.
Exactly.
And what happened then was that she wrote home. Did you write home to your mother? Asked for the special recipes.
Yes.
And she found what she was really good at. And she spent the rest of your career in the kitchen doing what she loves, which is cooking.
Yes.
So there you go.
We're going to learn Nicki's secrets about Greek food this afternoon. So,
Yes.
Let's start.
how do we start this process?
So we are going to have Susie basically do all the chopping for us.
Oh,
And
and Susie's also going to learn
she is going to learn hands-on
from
today.
Nicki
From
and yourself,
Nicki.
Meri,
That's it. And
how to make this, and then we may have it at a Estonian event in
we
the future.
maybe even she might add some Estonian little
That's right.
spices and
That's
spice it
right.
up a bit.
We could have Greek-Estonian fusion.
That's it. Exactly.
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 All right.
So we are going to start by Nicki's going to tell me how she
Okay.
starts, and we're going to try and put this together.
Okay.
So,
Έχουμε κάνει steam τα σπανάκια.
so first we have steamed the spinach and we have drained it, all the excess
έχουμε
water
στύψει.
from it. Yes.
Τα έχουμε στύψει.
And we are going to chop it up. You are doing excellent, Susie. You look like you've done this before. Yes. This one? There we go. There we go.
So once you're finished with the spinach,
So we're going
you
to...
put it in a bowl.
Yes, we
Yes.
put it in a bowl.
Ah.
Now, as you know, the Greeks...
That's 3 bags spinach.
Yes,
then.
this is 3 bags of spinach because, as you know, the Greeks do not like to make small portions. We like to cook for the army. So my mom has based it on 100 Spanakopita, so appetizers. Yes. So this is filling for 100. So as you see, the recipe that we've given you, it is for 100 pieces. What you can do is you can always make them and freeze them and then cook as you need as well. So
Okay.
we're going to combine all our
Next,
ingredients.
The 3 onions.
We're going to chop the onions
Okay.
as
So we
well.
have green onions.
So we
Green
have,
onions.
yes, we have 1 pound of fresh onions.
Όχι 1 pound, 3 pieces.
Oh, a bunch. Sorry, I
Yeah.
apologize. That's a bunch.
Yeah, small pieces, yeah.
And you're cutting them into
Very fine.
tiny
Just-
little pieces.
Thinly little pieces.
Okay.
That's
So
okay.
once we chop that up, we're going to add that to our spinach. Next, Nicki.
And also dill.
So we're going to chop up our dill as well.
You want me to
Oh,
chop?
No, she's okay. She's
Oh, those onions are bringing tears to Susie's eyes.
You'd think she'd gotten used to it by now. Me too. Don't worry, Susie.
Okay, everything in?
So you realize this is the great Estonian
Yeah.
spice, right? Dill.
Dill, yes, and we love dill as well. Actually, my mom
Next,
loves
that's
dill.
1 medium onions.
So that was 1 bunch
One
of dill,
medium
and now
chopped
we're gonna
onions.
do
Spring.
1 medium onion chopped. We're gonna add that as well.
Maria?
And then we have 475 grams of ricotta cheese that we'll add to our ingredients.
And then,
We have feta as well, actually, because
Yeah,
my
we
mom
have
likes to use ricotta and feta. So then that way, you know, she's creamier. Yes, exactly. So we also have here 2 cups of feta.
Yep, everything in.
and now
And
mix
5
well.
eggs.
We still have eggs.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Everything
we
in the
do
middle.
have 5 eggs that we are going to,
Yeah.
we're going to add to the recipe. Once we add that, we also have salt and pepper. Now, we've based it on a teaspoon of salt, but Nicki says to taste. So if you feel that it needs more, we could always put a little more salt and pepper in there as well.
I'll have a pepper. And that's
As you know, a real chef never measures.
Right.
oil.
So we have oil as well, half a cup of oil, just to make it moist and soak it up. Yeah, see, this is it. This is the
Now we
way
got everything?
Nicki likes to do it. She doesn't saute before. She likes to just have everything raw and keep the nutrients inside. This will make it less greasy too. Because I know some people saute it in a pan before, but she likes to just keep it all nice and fresh. And then Nicki, you have your phyllo pastry somewhere here. So
And
we
I
mix
wanna-
it well.
Somebody wash the, okay.
So it kind of looks like
Just
an
flip
egg
it.
salad sandwich.
With the spinach.
Similar. Not really. So once you get it all mixed up well, we're going to show you, and if you'd like, we can get somebody to maybe come on. If anybody wants hands-on too, we can ask them to try and fold the phyllo pastry, Patochis.
Hey there.
Excellent.
Susie knows.
Oh, Susie knows. There you go, Susie. Are you going to open that up for us? Let me help out here so I'm not it's looking pretty.
And the cross
Thank you.
tayo. The soup spoon, Maria. Come there. Soup spoon.
Yeah, I'll get that.
So you bought the pastry.
So the pastry is, yes, the regular phyllo pastry.
Can you buy it at Loblaws?
Yes, you can
Yeah.
buy it at Loblaws. They pretty much have it everywhere now.
Yeah, Maria.
And now the recipe calls for 2 boxes of the regular phyllo pastry, as you see here.
Okay.
It's usually 1.5 that we use. What we'll do is we'll open up the phyllo pastry, and we'll show you how to cut it so we can form the triangles. So it's always nice to get it to de-thaw it first. And then lay it flat.
Ito κόβουμε σε πόσο.
And then we cut it in 3 inches thick. If you can't see, please feel free to stand up and take a look.
So you're basically cutting horizontal strips
Horizontal strips.
that are parallel to the end.
Nicki likes to measure with her fingers, 4 fingers.
4 fingers.
4 fingers.
Okay.
That's it.
Many, many times. So once you've cut them into strips, you can always pile them.
So this
Make a
looks
nice
like
stack.
a very thin pastry.
It is a
Very
very thin pastry, so you got to be very delicate. It's always good to have extra because sometimes it does tend to dry up. When you open up the box, you might find that it's dry.
Okay. So you take
So
some egg
that's
wash
why-
and
So we start by taking 1 strip and then egg wash on, not egg wash, sorry, that's butter, not egg wash. I
butter.
apologize.
Yeah.
okay.
That is butter, melted butter. You basically start by 1 strip, always put brush some butter on each strip so it stays nice and moist.
To be salted or unsalted butter?
Salted.
Salted butter.
Salted butter. Okay.
So Nicki's gonna do 1, and then we're gonna have Susie try a couple, and then whoever else would like to try.
Oh, we could have we can have a
Because Nicki-
hands-on.
Nikki, as you can see, once she gets started, you can't stop her.
We have a volunteer over there.
We have lots of volunteers, I'm sure.
Come on up.
So as you see, 1 strip, brush it with some butter, then the next strip, brush again, and then we take a teaspoon of filling, and then Nicki, can we go slower so we can teach everybody how to do that
Okay.
triangle? Because you're doing it so fast, I don't think I caught.
I know. I thought I'm working in a restaurant.
Yeah, now
That's why.
she thinks she has to feed the people upstairs.
Those are perfect 60-degree angles.
Aren't they? Look at that. So those are,
After so many years, you know.
and if we're lucky, we might get Jaan to try one too.
That's a scary thought. Okay. So the first fold, she kind of goes 45
goes-
to 60 degrees, and then just keeps folding them.
My
Wanna
turn?
try?
Basically. So let's get Susie to try some now, and then we'll.
I've done it in just a different technique. I usually lay out the sheet and then I'm fiddling and I have to put wet cloths over the phyllo because it's all dry.
Yes, yes, that does
So this is
happen.
much
That's
better.
why.
You're quick, so.
Okay.
I have a question
Sure.
about this pillow dough. When you buy it and it's a little bit dried up, would you rescue it or you have to throw it out?
I'll tell you what my mom does with the dry, because sometimes you can't help it. It does come out dry, and it's very, you don't know what to do with it. You can't really save it. You can't really work with it. But she usually takes it, crumples it up, and throws it into the mix,
Yeah.
and it doesn't go to
Not
waste.
all of them, but
Not
some.
all of them, but the ones that are dry, and she just uses it that way because then it'll just soak up, and it just adds to the mix as well. But otherwise, yeah, it's hard. Once it dries,
Yeah, we
it's
do
hard
think
to get
we-
it back.
I think we had a
I find
volunteer.
that way easy.
So,
Yeah, no, you're okay. You're okay.
so let's
no
get
problem.
Susie to finish
To-
to do a
To
couple.
continue the family tradition.
Yeah, we'll have you try. We'll have everybody try.
Okay, so what did I do differently from yours?
So Nikki, teach. Why don't
It's
we
okay,
show
you do this almost the same. Doesn't matter.
almost the same?
So did you fold it?
So
I'm going like this.
you
Okay.
sort of have
The
to.
first one is
Yes.
fold
Yeah.
closer.
It doesn't matter.
Next, who's coming up?
It
we
looks.
have a
We have a
volunteer
volunteer.
Are you going to do it, Madespina?
So
Want to
let's see what Despina. If Despina has taken after her grandmother.
Okay. Now. Okay.
You start your fold
There.
to this.
Oh,
Oh boy, she's
excellent
fat.
technique.
Over there.
She's quick like her
Excellent.
grandma. That's it.
Excellent technique.
Luckily, she has not taken after her mother.
Who else would like to try? Oh, yes, come.
Come.
Yes.
Come, Meri.
Everyone can come up and try.
That's it. Watch the 5 o'clock shadow. So Irene has actually been working with us for many years, and she actually has is the one that has helped Nicki many times to actually put these appetizers together. So
How many do you make?
well this is
This one is
this one is
almost
for 100. We can get
80
100 out of it.
How about 80 exactly? Down, Khadim.
Oh, speed record.
Okay.
No,
Who
thank
else?
you, Irene.
Who else would like to try?
Let's have somebody
Piret.
else try. Piret. Very good job, Irene. Thank you.
This one is a little bit ripped. This part of the good one is the bottom. And this one, yeah. Actually, you can start from here. Look.
Just remember, Piret, you're
hands
not
here
painting.
and
You're
go like
just
this.
brushing it once.
No back and forth because the filo canto.
Because then you're going to break your filo.
That's it.
So you just give it nice brush.
It's okay. Just leave it here. Oh, I have to put this on the top.
Here we go.
There you go.
Now,
Yeah. Okay, here. Okay.
excellent. Perfect. Wonderful. Look at this. It
Excellent,
looks like Piret is a quick learner.
Okay, who's next?
Ladies. what-
Who's next? This is now a hands-on workshop.
That's it. That's the best kind of workshop.
Absolutely. Jan, you're next, right?
Jan, yes, we
Come
haven't had
on,
Jan.
Jan.
Well, we have some more members in the audience. But yeah, I want to try.
First, you put a butter.
First time for everything.
No, one. First butter. This. Then you put the top. Oh. Yeah. And again, a little bit butter, yeah. Not too much butter, just a little bit.
This helps. The butter helps the filo stick at the end as well, so it can fold over and
So I think
Stay.
it acts a little bit like glue, I would think, right?
yeah, exactly.
Doesn't it make it flaky too? That's why you put the different
Yes, and then
layers.
it gives it that nice flavor, the salty.
Yep.
We all love
Yum.
salty.
Estonians
So
and
it gives
Greeks.
it the flavor as well.
Yeah,
Crispiness, the
There.
brown.
Yep.
go there.
These are fairly inexpensive.
Who would
to
like to
make
come
too,
next?
right?
They are.
Davi.
The ingredients are,
Or
oh,
second.
we got everybody up here.
Other than the cheese.
The cheese, the feta. The cheeses are probably the most expensive.
there.
Spinach, yeah, I mean,
There.
onions.
Okay.
Everything seems to be pretty well priced.
Yep.
And it's healthy.
Yes.
Beautiful.
That's an excellent looking one.
Good job.
Okay, Davi's next.
I'm impressed. It looks like we know who to call if we ever need some backup.
Yeah. Staff.
This one. Yeah. Okay. Another one.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
Oh.
good.
Now I think.
So only brush one way.
What's that?
Don't go back and forth.
It's good to brush one way, so then that way the filo, because the more, remember, it's delicate, so the
Yeah.
more you play with it,
It can break.
it could break.
Okay,
And
there. Again.
Oh, we think Davi has it. Oh, it's
Davi have
it's
it?
excellent technique here.
oh, excellent. We
Oh,
have a winner.
yes.
Oh,
Very
wonderful.
good.
Very good. We should have a
Who
competition.
else? Okay.
She's jealous now. If Davi can do it, then I can do it too. Perfect. That's all it really needs.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brush
brushing
technique. Look at that.
Well, I watched and learned.
Yep. That's it. There you go.
How far do you place it?
Yeah, this so the right size.
Just so, because then you can always, that'll help with the folding. Perfect. Looks like we got some professionals here. Excellent.
Is
wonderful.
there any reason that it's a triangular shape?
No, not that I know of,
there's
Nikki.
no significance to it being a triangle.
I
You can
think
make
it's
like this
just
too, like a
you.
Susi
Yeah,
made.
Susie. Actually, this is how
Yeah.
you can also make like that as well. But is there a reason, Nikki, that it's a triangle? Do we know?
That's fine, an easy way for me
Yeah,
to do it.
I think it's
Not
just
fast.
a wonderful shape.
Oh,
Oh, it looks like
the
there we
boss
go.
is coming.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
Oh, you're correct. That's
There we go.
it's geometry, Euclid.
That's it.
Euclid and yes. So maybe Euclid
Shapes.
was
All over the
behind
ends
making
there.
it a triangular shape.
That's it.
Maybe.
What's the translation for Spanakopita?
Spanakopita, spinach pie.
Yeah.
Pretty much, spinach pie. Spanaki is spinach, so kopita is pie, like pita. So yeah, spinach pie.
What are those round, circular, kind of snake-like things they make?
Marika?
So that's tiropita basically, and you can make spinach in it as well. It's just a
And
different
Hendrik,
shape,
you look
mostly
like-
because of comes from the north.
This way.
They
Okay.
do it like that.
Yep.
So there's certain
And
parts of
then
Greece that will
there.
fold it differently.
Come
So
back
we
here.
do the triangle. They like to do it in like a pita in a large like pie shape.
Beautiful.
And
It does actually. So as we said, we've actually done it many times. You make them and you could freeze them, and you can even maybe put a dozen, separate a dozen each, and then you could freeze them. They freeze very well. Pull them out, and when you're ready to cook, you just place them on your sheet. Put a little butter on top, and then place them in the oven. Now we did say 325 for
Yeah.
12 to 15 minutes,
Yeah,
actually.
So they get brown.
So yeah, until golden brown, basically. So as you see now, once you're done, you can brush them a little more with a little butter on each one to give it that crispiness also. Put it in the oven for 325, 12 to 15 minutes. 325, if I'm not mistaken, we have it there. Did I put it? So preheat oven at
Any other
325
volunteers?
at the top. They didn't see it.
Yeah.
Also,
Do the cameramen, any cameramen want to try making one?
I think Jaan's up.
I'll make
Yep.
one.
Don't be nervous, Jaan. Just because you're going to do one doesn't make your wife going to make you do this all the time.
all of this in your hand. Okay? That's it.
Everybody's holding their breath.
Very good.
Someone's been watching.
Dollop of this.
Excellent. Take your corner to the edge. There we go. Oh, excellent. Oh, we got a winner.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you, Jaan.
Okay.
Wonderful. Good job, Jaan. I think you won the competition.
No, everyone, give a hand for everybody because everybody did a
Excellent
really good job.
Excellent job.
And what are we going to do next? Are we going to?
So next up,
do the-
so we're gonna collect this, and next up we're gonna prepare moussaka for everyone. Show you how Nicki's secret recipe to her delicious moussaka.
Πάσε πάνω, αυτό το θέλουμε. Πάσε αυτό. Τώρα έχουμε το κρεμμύδι εδώ.
So we're
κομμένο,
gonna
δεν
get Susie to help us with this as well. Susie, would you like to turn that on for us?
Now,
Δεν έχουμε το κρεμμύδι για το μουσακά.
was the appetizer, was that something that didn't have olive oil in it?
Well, you
Eleni.
could
Because
use
olive oil in
Eleni,
Greek cooking
δεν έχουμε το κρεμμύδι
is.
για το
true,
μουσακά.
true.
Okay,
You
maybe
could
the
use
moussaka.
olive oil instead of the vegetable oil, but vegetable oil is obviously a little lighter. Olive oil is a little heavier, and yes, it is something that we didn't put olive oil in.
But and when you're finished with them, you don't put another layer of butter on them or anything. You just
When you're finished with them, as I mentioned before, so you place them, you preheat the oven for 325. Brush them when you're done on your, when you're spreading them on the sheet, you can brush them with a little bit of butter, some excess butter, and then just place them in the oven and 12 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then you should be ready to go.
very good.
Once you see they have a nice golden brown color, you could always pull them out, let them cool, and enjoy. And actually, we have samples for everybody. Why don't we bring those out now while we get ready for the moussaka?
Oh.
Ladies, where's our Spanakopita? Thank you, Susie. Irini, το Spanakopita, σε παρακαλώ. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Irene's going to help you pass them around. Thank you, Irene. Some napkins, Irene? There we go. Perfect. Πρόσεξε.
We missed the onions. Okay. Let's have one onions.
We almost forgot about our delicious samples that we have for everyone. So Irene is going to come around and give some samples of the Spanakopita, and you'll see once done how delicious they are.
Okay.
So we're ready to go. We are going to chop the onions. Let's
I
go.
missed the oil a little bit.
So Nikki's just trying to get ready. So we're just going to thinly, so we have a medium onion, and we're going to thinly chop it in thin, yes, strips, whatever you fancy. Not too thick, just basically nice and thinly.
No, then you have to like it.
So you're showing your slicing technique here, Susie.
Hola, Tahis. Δοκιμά.
Βάλτε το κιμά εκεί πέρα.
Do you have any secrets for not crying when you're onion goggles?
When you're doing lots of them, you're really.
It's okay. But he's bringing a little bit oil.
So we're
in a
going to put
second.
some,
She's gonna bring one little bit
so you're
oil.
going to chop it in
Small pieces.
Yeah, in chunks, like thinly.
So you want small
Yes,
dice.
sorry, diced. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry, Susie. Sorry,
Yeah.
Susie. I totally forgot to mention diced. I was trying to think of the word.
Θέλω και την κουτάλα μου. Την κουτάλα μου, πού πήγε η κουτάλα μου. Κουτάλα μου.
No, but that's okay. You can still use it and chop it up. Basically, we get the idea.
So this is a fine chop.
Oh, yeah.
This is a fine chop. The only thing is we're just, because we're going from one to another, we're just going to make sure we have everything. He's, oh.
Στα μην δεν βάλουμε λάδι, ρε Ελένη. Okay.
So, add a little oil. Now it's
Just a
called
little
oil.
bit.
So a little bit of oil first into the pan,
Just to cover the bottom?
just to cover the bottom slightly, because we're going to saute the onions first. So we can put the onions into. Now this is so we're going to start with the. For the moussaka, we obviously need ground beef. So first we're going to start with the ground beef.
Want it a little bit lower?
Yeah. Just
It's okay.
So we're going to saute the onions first and the.
When they get brown, the onions, we'll put the meat.
Έχεις βάλει σκορδό, no?
Όχι, άσο.
Okay.
Α,
So
ναι,
you can
άμα
also
χρειάζεσαι,
you
άμα.
can also put a little garlic if you want, but if you're okay without, you can just saute the onions, and then slowly add your ground beef. Now we have 3 pounds of ground beef.
But you could use lamb as well, right?
You could
Yeah.
use if you are vegetarian. No.
Everybody knows the famous line from the movie, My Big Fat
I'm
Greek
not
Wedding.
sure if anybody's watched it, but
The groom who is getting married to a Greek woman goes to a family outing, and he's offered and he says, I'm a vegetarian. And the response comes back, oh, that's okay, you'll eat lamb then.
yeah,
Right?
we'll make lamb. We'll make lamb. So you could use lamb as well. My mom likes to use ground beef. She finds lamb is a little bit. I'm not sure why, Nikki. Kima?
Είναι πολύ, έχει άλατα πολλά και λάδι πες.
Yeah, she actually finds that it has more oils and a little bit saltier. So she prefers ground beef. So she's always used ground beef. She's happy with the ground beef. So this
Okay.
is this is for a small pan. 12 pieces, standard. It is basically 2-inch deep, let's say. Exactly, like this. So we start with the 3 pounds of ground beef. We have 1 medium onion.
It's high.
Uh,
A little bit higher, yeah.
once
Yeah,
the
finish
onion
fast.
is a little golden.
Άμα θέλουν βάζουν και λίγο σκόρδο, αν θέλουν.
Yes. So once the onions are cooked a little bit and a little bit golden, we can add
Yeah, like this.
the ground beef.
So when the onions get a little bit translucent, that's the
That's
good time to add
that is a good
beef.
time to add the beef. And then just slowly, slowly, we want to brown the beef. Just keep stirring and allowing it to get some color.
So would this be a very old recipe? Or a very old tradition in Greek cuisine?
It has been around for years.
Yeah.
I'm talking centuries. So
Centuries, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, Nikki. Well, it dates back, obviously, your mother taught
My
you,
mom's
right?
recipe, yeah.
So basically, this is her mother's recipe.
I
So
guess,
yes,
yeah.
centuries, I would
That's
say.
from my grandmother.
We've never
probably.
looked back into the history, but I'm guessing yes. So, Nikki, well, we're gonna, yeah. Sorry, Nikki, I thought you sliced all these. So let's open that up. Obviously, we're gonna work, before you start with the ground beef, it is always good to prep your station. What you're gonna need for the moussaka is potato, zucchini, and eggplant. We have here, basically, her recipe requires 4 zucchini, 4 medium potatoes, and 2 eggplant
Yes, for
Right.
that pan.
for this pan here. So you can cut it into, if you want to show them how to cut them. Nikki has pre-cooked them, but
Yeah.
thin slice. Basically, we have
Yeah.
them as basically just smaller than a
Just a little
centimeter, I
bit
guess.
bigger,
1
it's okay.
centimeter thick.
Just a little bit bigger, it's okay.
Yeah. You don't want to cut it too thin, because then when you
Yeah, exactly.
brown them, when you fry them a little bit, they do tend to disappear. You want them a little thick so they could stay nice and thick when you're layering it. So these ones here, what we do, so once you have sliced all your eggplant, your potatoes and that, before you layer them, we fry them and brown them on both sides. So first, before that, we'll put a little salt, little pepper, marinate them a little bit with salt and pepper, and then just fry them each, the potatoes, the
Just a
eggplant,
brole, but okay.
you can do them, you can grill them, you can fry them, basically whatever you have handy. So you pre-fry them a little bit on each side, give them a nice color, and then have them placed to the side. So as you see, she has done that right there, giving it a nice color on both sides. Excellent. So you want to start adding? Why don't we get Susie, since we see how
nice one.
Susie's done a beautiful job on that slicing. But since we've already prepped them, this is just to show you a little bit. But what we can do is we've already done it. So why don't we get Susie to finish off the ground beef for us? So
Okay, that's almost
Okay,
ready, the
Susie.
ground beef.
Nikki, walk us
can
through
add
it. What do we
everything
do?
up.
What are we going to do first, Nikki?
We can put the ground crushed tomatoes, 1 cup.
Perfect.
And 1 spoon tomato paste.
So first we've added
1 spoon
the tomato sauce, the tomato paste,
salt,
slowly just adding each
teaspoon pepper.
ingredient.
1 teaspoon nutmeg,
Nutmeg
Yep.
is always a nice addition. Give it a nice flavor.
about 8 to 10 cloves.
And we love to put cloves in our, yes, we do. When we just take
You
them
can- you
out,
can
I
eat-
know.
You can eat it after it came soft. You can eat it too, no problem.
Yeah,
Or you can take it off after if you see. No.
it's, you can leave them in if you're not scared to bite into it, but cloves give such a wonderful flavor to the ground beef that we like to leave them in. They usually sometimes just soften and it's okay. Nikki, if you do feel scared, you can pick them out afterwards, but otherwise they give such a wonderful flavor that. Ground cloves, I know she has some
That's
ground
one,
cinnamon that she's
stick
added
and
to.
half spoon cinnamon ground. Everything in. That's it. And now 2 cups water. Bring some 2 cups water.
The flavors, the smell, smell
Yeah,
that.
water there.
That's starting to look very
Okay,
good.
take your water here,
I
eh?
know, look at this. Who would have thought?
Can you smell that aroma?
Why don't you
Come up and-
come up and take a look at the beautiful color.
Yeah, 2 cups of water.
2 cups of water, and we let it basically boil until it becomes thick. So just continue stirring.
So turn it down a bit.
Yeah.
Once it brings to the boil, and you want me to turn it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can turn it down a little bit. So you usually let it cook for about 25 minutes.
Yeah, there. In a slow cook.
So on low for 25 minutes, Nikki.
25 to 30 minutes in a slow cook.
Stir between, but
All the time. You can
yeah.
cover it and let cook, with the,
and then once it's cooked, we can set it aside. And
yes.
basically, you got your finished product, Nikki.
Yep.
So this is what it looks like in the end. Your finished product is basically a nice.
So this is after 5 minutes. This is after
After half
25
25.
minutes.
Yeah.
You take the cinnamon stick out.
Yes.
So the cinnamon stick
Yeah.
you can take
And if you
out,
like, you
and
can
then
take the
the cloves as well.
cloves.
Like you
But
said,
if
you can
some
always
left,
pick
it's
out the
okay.
cloves.
soft anyways. So I'm gonna start to do the.
So now we're gonna show you how to layer it, and yeah, we can put that to the side for now. That's good there. Yeah.
Questo tutti i ricchi da
So-
Maria. Quanto tiri Maria?
Rotahiola.
Okay. So breadcrumb.
All right, so we're all becoming
Breadcrumb.
experts on how to make Greek food. Cloves, that's the secret
Ella,
ingredient.
yeah. So we put a little bit breadcrumb.
Yeah. So this is one thing that actually looks like I've skipped on the recipe, Nikki. The breadcrumbs on the
Well-
bottom. See, she did not.
That's okay. Even if
So-
you skip, nothing wrong.
Not
A little bit cheese.
not that you
Parmesan
really need
cheese.
it, but Nikki does put a little breadcrumb on the bottom, I guess, to.
I mean,
And this is
that's Parmesan
so
cheese.
we obviously our moussaka is our traditional midzithra that we use. That's our nice Greek cheese that we like that has a nice salty taste and gives it that flavor. But if you can't get your hands on some midzithra, you can use Parmesan cheese. It's pretty much does the same thing. Yeah. So
start with the
basically we
potatoes.
start by putting a little breadcrumb, a little Parmesan cheese. Can you sit down, Desmond? And then I'll call you up in a bit. So we
So you
start by
you put the Parmesan cheese and the breadcrumbs,
Yeah.
very thin layer on the
just
bottom
a
of
sprinkle,
the pan.
sprinkled on the bottom of the pan. This will help also so the potato doesn't stick on the bottom when
Okay.
you're lifting it afterwards. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
problem.
Nikki's trying to be politically correct here, but so we start by layering the potato first.
For all the potatoes, yeah.
So a layer of sliced potatoes on the bottom of the pan.
Excellent.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's no,
No.
so it's all pre-cooked, so you don't have to worry too much. You make a nice layer
zucchini,
of
one
potato
layer
first,
zucchini.
and then we move on to the zucchini.
Oh,
Nikki, is there a
And this-
certain way you layer the vegetables?
No, it doesn't matter.
No. So just nice.
Flat better.
zucchini strips on top of the potatoes.
So now we
Now you put the
we
ground beef.
put a layer of ground beef.
And Nicki is kind of sprinklering it. That's the proper term. Sprinkling.
Yeah.
Not
She's try
engineer thing. Sprinkler.
making a nice layer and covering all the
Okay.
zucchini.
So is there a very thin ground beef layer?
Yeah.
Maybe sprinkle some more cheese in
Lisa?
between, Nikki.
Now
Some
with
more
the
parmesan.
eggplant.
There's a little parmesan. We'll give it more flavor in the middle.
Okay. If you want, you can put it.
Sprinkling of Parmesan cheese.
Or mizitra, like we said. But
Okay, the
Then-
eggplant now.
Some more zucchini strips.
eggplant first. So now
Oh,
we use
eggplant. Now
now
we
we move
switched
on
o-
to the eggplant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They look the same to me.
One's green, one's
this
purple.
way
What's
on.
the it's all the same. So then we have another layer of zucchini.
Yeah. Just spread the zucchini again.
Oh, okay. And then on top of the eggplant, we now put the zucchini strips.
Some more zucchini.
So we're getting very layered look. Oh.
So another ground beef.
Some more.
Another layer of ground beef.
Sprinkling.
Okay.
So once all that is done, you can place that to a side, and then you have to work on your bechamel sauce. Now the bechamel sauce, as we know, is always the hard part.
Milk.
Milk is here.
To get sort of preheated, yeah. All this was already.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sto medium. Well, sto medium.
So we're going to put it on the medium,
on the medium.
heat. Perfect, Susie. Thank you, Susie. There you go. Yeah. There you go. So we're going to get all our ingredients out.
Alto la mesa, Maria. Just put the milk
So
in.
1 liter of milk we're going to use in this. For the bechamel, it's 1 liter of milk.
Oh, you open?
So Nikki,
So we put the milk in. 1 liter.
And this is on medium heat.
Medium heat, yes.
Okay. Does it matter if it's 2%?
she likes to use 2%. So we use 2%. 1 liter on medium heat. Now, does it need to warm up, Nikki? No.
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 Everything in now.
Nikki likes to put everything in. So all at once.
It's 4
What are we gonna
eggs.
so we're going to put 4 eggs first.
Did you notice the difference between the Estonian technique and the Greek technique in breaking eggs?
Okay.
Everything is
Everything's cold,
cold. I know there's some people that like to warm up and go step by step. This is her secret recipe. Just add it all in. Add it all in and let it.
Meri,
So we stir. What do you need, Nikki?
12 spoons of flour.
So here we have 12 spoons of flour already measured. You just pour that all together. We have our pepper. So white pepper, a pinch of white pepper or to taste. We have a pinch of nutmeg
Yes.
or to taste.
Kili
Now
canela.
we have cinnamon. That
little bit.
it looks like you mix. I missed that too, Nikki. I'm sorry. No, it
That's
looks like
poetic,
that's what. So this is one thing you have to understand about learning from your mother. When you ask her for a recipe, most of the time it's going to be a pinch of this, a pinch
I
of
have
that,
this
a
spoon?
dash of this. Who knows? Oh, you know, you'll see when you see it, how it feels, how it tastes. You know, so. Yes, you pretty much don't get full answers.
You gotta have two soup spoons.
It's pretty much, you should know. So, yes, it looks like the cinnamon has decided to
Put a
make its
lot.
way there because, hey, it tastes good. Why not? It's good for
Missing
you.
the salt.
Are we missing
salt.
salt?
Oh,
Excellent. So
Okay.
we've got salt as well, a pinch of salt, obviously, or to taste. Thank you very much, Cecilia.
δεν έχει μεγαλύτερο. And about
And then we have 3 tablespoons butter.
four.
4.
For she changed it.
Yeah,
As
you
I
know,
said.
She looked at the color and said it needs one more.
It
That's
is
it.
supposed to be a tablespoon.
My
She was
eye.
using a teaspoon, so that's why. So it took 4 teaspoons, but three tablespoons. So we have it on low heat, Nikki, or you want it higher?
Τώρα πρέπει να περιμένουμε να γίνει thick.
So basically, you keep stirring it until it becomes a little thick.
Yeah.
How long does that usually take, Nikki?
Oh, depends τώρα.
Depends on the
5
heat.
minutes, 10
but-
minutes. Να το βάλουμε πιο δυνατά λίγο. Μαρία?
Yeah.
More,
Can we put it a little higher, Susie? So maybe we could
No,
show
this one
them.
is better.
Excellent. So this does tend to need about 5 minutes or so. And once it gets thick, you don't need it. Do you need to let it cool, Nikki? Do you usually let it cool? or
No, not really.
No. Once, so slowly, once it does thicken, you take it off the heat. And that's
Yeah.
usually when
And
we
we
add
put half a
our
cup Parmesan.
our Parmesan, half a cup of Parmesan, or midzithra, like I said, that's our favorite, but Parmesan is the substitute.
Πού είναι ο έτοιμος μουσακάς? Φέρ' το μουσακάκι μου, δεν το δούμε.
Excellent, excellent. Lenny, thank you. Let's bring it out and we'll cut it here, okay? Thank you. So while we wait for that and we get it nice and thick, we're going to show you a finished product. Helen, can I get the finished product? No.
I was shocked when you put the eggs
Okay,
in the
just
milk.
put it in
It's
the
not
front of
scrambled
the-
eggs yet.
Yeah?
Not at
Doesn't
all
matter.
French technique, or it's
Doesn't matter.
wild to me.
Right here.
And it's going to work, I can see.
Yeah, they work.
So we got some helpers today. I got a little one that wants to help, so there you go. So let's place it right up here and you'll take a look at our finished product. This is moussaka. As you can see here, once you're done and you've added the midzithra or the parmesan, and your bechamel is ready, you pour a layer on the top of the moussaka on your ground beef. And then you bake at 325 for 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then once it has a nice golden color on top, you pull it out, let it cool, and serve. So, Nikki, while Nikki's doing that, I'm going to serve moussaka.
Okay.
And maybe
Got a knife here.
yes.
Πιατάκι.
Excellent. We're going to get everybody here, and I'm going to cut you up
me
some
to cut it for
moussaka. Yes, Nikki, why don't you do the honors of cutting some moussaka for everybody? And there we go. We're going to get everybody to try some moussaka. Yes. With rice, I would suggest a nice Greek salad. Because it has potato inside, I wouldn't suggest rice. But, you know, obviously I know Estonians like their starch and their potatoes. So, oh, no. No, we usually layer, and that's the whole point, is because we layer with potato, zucchini, and eggplant. As you see, we didn't use too much eggplant because a lot of people actually don't like the taste of eggplant, so that's why we put more zucchini. So that way it doesn't, you don't really taste the eggplant as much.
Oh, it looks like it's thickening up.
Starting getting thick? Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, Vatikio.
There we go. Why doesn't everybody come up and we'll give you a piece? And you can try a piece of this delicious moussaka. Yes, why don't we give that to the young lady behind you, Despina. There you go, and a fork. Thank you.
Είναι κρύος τώρα, αλλά τρώγεται ζεστός.
Okay. So this obviously has cooled down a bit because we've pre-cooked it. But obviously when it's nice and hot, it is even more delicious. But this, even cooled, is very tasty.
Θέλει ακόμα πιο σφιχτό.
Here we go. Oh boy, oh boy. Let me get some more forks.
Να το βάσω. Yeah, okay, now you can close it. Άμα αρχίζει και κάνει bubble,
Okay.
πες ότι είναι έτοιμο.
Excellent. So, Susie, why don't we get Susie to finish the rest?
Yeah.
Excellent. Nikki, you can please cut some more moussaka because I see everybody's hungry. It's been a long day. This is Despina's piece. There you go, Despina. Let's give a piece over here. There we go. Move that out of the way. More pieces. Excellent. Wonderful. There you go.
Yeah.
So, any comments?
it's a
How's
little bit
everybody
too much,
enjoying the
this-
moussaka? Delicious? Yes? Nice. Oh, look at that, the biggest piece for you. There we go. Jaan, why don't you pass around to whoever hasn't gotten some. And I think I'm going to get some more napkins.
Okay, it's enough, I think.
Oh, you got some? Perfect.
Now, έχει να κλείνει.
So now we've poured our bechamel on top of the moussaka, and we bake it.
Εδώ,
As we
Μαρία,
said,
Μαρία,
oh,
Βάζουμε
before
λίγο
we bake
κανέλα.
it, actually, this is the special ingredients that we forgot. Before we bake it, we sprinkle some cinnamon on top for a nice color, a little more Parmesan or mizithra, and this will give it that nice little crispy, crumbly.
Μαρία,
Oh, and we drizzle it with some butter that we did not, that also we did not put in the recipe. But of course we didn't.
That's it.
'cause
finish.
But I didn't see any olive oil.
apparently,
No olive oil.
apparently,
Too heavy for
as we said, there are many things about the Greeks you don't know. We don't use olive oil on everything. There you go, Susie. And
Everybody have a piece?
enjoy, yes. That is moussaka.
Κορίτσια, ελάτε. Πώς τη λέμε, δεν πρέπει, τώρα πρέπει. Τρώει
Now,
και
did everybody get some?
Ε,
Moussaka.
είναι η μέρα τώρα.
And what about
See,
the ouzo?
before we always thought that we should pronounce it Moussaka,
Or
but
as
it's actually Moussaka.
Moussaka. And I don't know if you, as we mentioned before, in my big fat Greek wedding, they used to call it Moussaka.
Yes.
They said that
Now-
they used to make fun of her when she used to go to school
Okay.
because she used to pack, her parents used to pack her moussaka for lunch. And all her friends had the peanut butter sandwiches, and she used to have moussaka.
Now, did everybody get some? The cameramen are happy. I think everybody, very good.
I hope everybody enjoyed.
Let's give a nice round of
Enjoyed
applause for the.
themselves.
Thank you.
And I hope, we taught you something today. And it wasn't too confusing.
I think we all learned something, but especially me. Anyway, Meri, Nicki, I want to thank you very much for
Thank you. No problem.
sharing your family's recipes with all of us. Thank you very much. Let's give a nice round of applause for
Thank you.
Meri and Nicki.
Thank you. Anytime.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Now we have a critical decision here. We were planning to have an intermission, but people run to the cash bar and buy lots of wine and beer, but we had the choice of, I think, just going right into the Estonian portion, Susie, right?
If we're
So
ready.
why don't we take 5 minutes, have a bio break, run to the cash bar if you are so desire. Meri,
Yes.
was there ouzo?
There is ouzo, Jaan, and I was just hoping that you were going to mention that. Why don't we
So
take
during the
a
intermission-
ouzo break?
During the intermission, if you would like a small glass of ouzo, you're welcome to come up and you can have a glass. So let's come back in 5 minutes.
Just in case. Okay. Yeah, it was kind of awesome. And take some to your wife. Take some to your wife. We have so much.
What do you say when it's
Yasu. That's what we should do. We're supposed to cheers. Let's see. So, obviously, we don't need a reason to drink. We just drink for fun. Yasu. Very strong ouzo. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with ouzo. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, nice, eh? Percentage on ouzo? Let's take a look here. Could be. This 40%, yes. We can. You can compare it to a nice licorice flavor, but we compare it to maybe like a moonshine.
Is this 12-year-old?
That's 12. There you go.
Are these the ones that we made?
These are the ones you made. Boom.
Really?
No, they're not. Let's say we could say yes. Sure, yes. Thank you. Okay, you want to put it in the kitchen? Good job. Excellent. Good job. Good job. Can you put it in the garbage? I'm going to mazap sa patikamas na paikinat kami palitats. Excellent. Thank you. You got the mic off the mom? Okay, Susie. That's it. that might be. Yeah, that might be enough because my mom's. So what do you need? You need some help? Άμα το υδροβράσεις τώρα, το υδροβράσουμε, θα βάζεις ένα μπολάκι και άσου το στυλό και άσου να μαγειρεύει. Το άλλο δεν είναι το πούμε να το πληρώσουμε. Το άλλο είναι το πάρουμε. Όχι, το έχει το ψήσει. Okay, that's true. Okay. That's true. So άμα είναι το ψήσει και να το πάρει κάποιος για πλήρω. Okay, what do we need? Susie, we're yours now. We're your picture. Excellent. So now we're going to help Susie. Nicki, you going to help her? Daddy says it was delicious. The Moussaka. What do you guys think? Now it's simple, it's easy. And because you don't have the, like we don't want the pre-sauce or anything, you can just mix it up all nice and fresh and then just cook, right? So it's very easy. You love it, Nicki. You're a hit. 2 cups of milk and some more than that. Ελάτε.
να κάνω, αφού σε χάνω, σ' αγαπάω και αφού δεν με πιστεύεις κι όλο με κοροϊδεύεις, καρδιά μου με πληγώνεις, αισθήματα σκοτώνεις, μακριά σου υποφέρω, μόνο εσένα θέλω.
Meri's gonna help me, right? Or Nicki, right? Either way. You can both stay.
All right then. Now we're going to come to the Estonian portion of the show, right? So first we had Southern Mediterranean cooking. Now we're going to have Northern Baltic Sea cooking. And there was an interesting, what I did was I checked Mediterranean cooking, and, it's all sort of sunny and warmy. And then you look at Estonian cooking, and the comment was, rye bread, beer, vodka, fish, meat. And it was that belt of Europe. So anyway, but now we have Susi, who everybody knows because we've had several successful cooking with Susi shows. And I have gotten so far with my cooking that I'm now known in the family as the Solatut Lõhe expert in the family. And I use Susi's recipe.
Oh, nice.
So, Solatut Lõhe in English is cured salmon, where you basically use salt and sugar to cure the fillet of dill. The famous Estonian recipe dill. So Susi has her own catering business. She's done lots of food for us here at Tartu College. She has graduated from
George Brown College.
Sorry, which college?
George Brown College.
George Brown College, which I think if many of you know is probably the top, if not one of the top, if not the top cooking schools in Canada. So my understanding is, did you finish first in your class?
Yes, I did. Good memory.
So Susi has a wide range of experience. Learned cooking from your mother and grandmother?
More my grandmother. Yeah.
More your grandmother who taught you.
Yeah.
And
My mom had like her very certain, perfect dishes, but they were like seafood curry and non-Estonian things. And yeah, but she was a
Okay.
good cook.
And was there any special reason that your grandmother's cooking appealed to you?
She fed us all the time. We were constantly over there because my parents would ditch us for weekends, and I just joined in and.
Oh, so you helped her cook?
Yep.
And that's how you got your love of cooking?
Yep, I believe so.
Huh.
Yep.
Small little lesson.
Small word.
Help your grandmother.
Help your
It's fun.
grandmother,
You'll
and
learn.
who knows what's going to happen. So I think first we're going to make scumbria.
Yep. Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of scumbria?
History is unknown. Okay, we don't even know if it's Estonian. There's similar recipes in Poland and Russia and Latvia and all over the northern things. Scumbria actually means mackerel, or it's some Latin. I don't know my Latin, but it's a scumbria is a family of mackerel. Okay. Now I don't use mackerel because it's hard to find unless it's salted or canned. It's very oily and it's unsustainable now too. It's overcaught, overfished.
It's
And
very healthy for you, right?
Omega-3 fatty acids are very good for you. But I like the more mild fish too. I did bring a sample, which if you dare, I found this at the Food Basics. This is mackerel in tomato sauce, and this is from China, so I thought we'd maybe give that a shot too, after mine, if anybody dares, okay? This is $1.99.
I have one
Who knows?
rule. And I went to China maybe 50, 60 times, right? I have one rule. Never buy Chinese food over here.
Oh.
You just don't know how they don't have the same standards for food, especially anything that's
I was
in a
gonna
can or been
Especially in a
pre-prepared.
can.
Yeah, it's good for the cat.
Okay, so I'll
But
bring it to
I
my
would
cat.
I would caution anyone buying Chinese food that was made in China.
Good to know.
Just personal experience. Anyway,
Okay, so basically, the sauce for scumbria is my great aunt used only ketchup. I've altered that sort of recipe because I find it kind of sweet and gummy. Okay, so I add to my sautéed onions that are almost golden, but they're definitely cooked through. I put salt and pepper. I fried it in a little bit of canola oil. Okay, and then we're just going to add pretty well everything. Let me just this one. Okay, so I don't forget anything. I guess I have to measure, right? Okay.
That's what we're going for today.
Okay, we're measuring today. So we're going to do 2 cups of ketchup. Maybe you can read out.
do you have
all
a
that.
favorite ketchup, Susie?
I kind of like French's now. but
You
I
like
think-
French's?
Yeah.
Okay.
The political part of it. And it's all, well,
And it comes from Leamington, Ontario.
yep. But apparently only using about 10% of Ontario tomatoes right now, and they're trying to change that.
So you
It's
have,
really good. It's very good ketchup if you haven't tried it. It's not as sweet.
so that's 2 cups of ketchup
Yep.
with the onions, right?
Yep, got the onions. And we're going
Excellent.
to do tomato sauce. This is just pureed tomatoes. You can use the chunky stuff too, but not too chunky. It gives sort of nice texture, but then it does break down a little bit, but not the whole tomatoes. It just doesn't work. Then you have to blend it afterwards, and this is just easy.
So 2 large cans of pureed tomatoes. We have
Here, you can get a teaspoon or something,
teaspoon.
or a tablespoon. Again, just like
We're gonna have
grandma, this is all to taste too. If you want a little bit more of this or that, just taste it and see what you like. Like I prefer a little bit sweeter. I also like it spicy, but Estonians don't do spice, do they? Oh, like if I were to do it for just me, I'd be putting in cayenne and sriracha, things like that. Maybe
Chili peppers?
yeah, sure, anything like that. Might be interesting. And if it's served cold, it's not so. I don't know. This is nice, mild. Everybody seems to like it. Okay, Worcestershire. This is my great aunt's technique too. I don't know if everybody else does it. I put a little bit of allspice in. This is ground, but if I had whole ones, I couldn't find them. Now, remember how I was going, ooh, cloves? Okay, this is
So,
my trick. This is what I
your
figured out.
trick.
This is
That's
my
your
trick.
trick.
I don't put cloves in, but I put bay leaves. And if you want peppercorns or anything like that, you take one of these David's tea bags, and you throw it in there, you close it up and let it simmer and
Very nice, and then
do
pull
its
it
thing
out.
and then pull it
Yeah,
out.
That's a good
And
idea.
then, like, because if you
You're always
try to
fishing
eat
those out. No.
fishing them out or eating them, which is
That's
very,
true.
very
Not
difficult.
very good. Not very nice.
Yep. So in
That's
they
a
go.
very good
You
idea.
can also use cheesecloth, but then that's fiddling, and I just have to go like this.
See? We thought
Without
those
the tie.
pouches
Yeah.
those are handy.
Yeah.
Very nice. So we have
About a half a teaspoon of allspice.
excellent. We got your brown sugar here.
Okay.
One more.
Now, I forgot to bring vinegar, and I'm not going to make you run up.
Do you want some vinegar? We can
Doesn't really
we can
matter.
get some vinegar.
You don't
Watch
have
this. Just like that. Clap on, clap off.
Magic.
It works. I don't know how, but
And you're supposed to simmer this for about half an hour. You can go a little bit longer. It's relatively thick, but it's got to coat your fish. It's going to hug the fish, okay? But not be runny, because you want it to just stick just so. Okay, did I have anything else? Salt and pepper.
we're waiting for the vinegar, salt and pepper. We got
Oh, right, carrot. Yeah.
got the main ingredient, carrot.
No, it's not. Where did my carrot go?
Over there.
It's hiding. There it is.
Yeah, I just grate it. Some people, I know, it's good. Some people put like slices, but I like the grated. It kind of disappears. You still get the nutrition and sweetness and moisture too. You get the idea, right?
You stir it all up.
Just stir it up and let it go. And then we're going to start on the fish.
How long does it usually?
About half an hour.
Half an hour. Excellent.
So now we wait.
Now we
got
wait.
some vinegar
Now we're
coming
gonna
too.
go on
Look
to
at
the
this. Vinegar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
So we
got
only
some
need about a
vinegar.
quarter cup,
An excellent job.
if that. I would put a little bit less and then see what you think. And it's like sweet and sour, and I don't know. I love it. This is a very, very inexpensive dish. These two fillets. This is basa, frozen, $2.49.
Oh, there you go.
Gonna
Basa
feed the
fish.
whole crowd.
Very nice. It's a big crowd today too.
Yeah. This sauce probably is enough for 3 fillets, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're gonna pretend that this is all half an hour later, and it's cooking back there. Okay.
Wonderful. Now we're going to work on the fish.
We're gonna work on fish. We're gonna not bread it, but we're gonna dust it with flour, dip it in egg, and put it back into the flour, and then fry it in oil until it's cooked, because we want it fully cooked because we're serving it cold. All right? No. No, just a soft sauce afterwards.
This comes.
And it's weird. I mean, you bread a fish and then you put this goopy sauce over it, and it just sounds like that's really silly, right? But it works.
So you're using canola oil here.
Canola, I like, yep. I'm putting quite a bit in. I've deep fried them too, but that's not really, it's basically what I'm doing. Yeah, well, I find that if you do a shallow fry with very little oil, then it tends to burn really quickly. Yeah, and then you get this flour and, you know, it gets all, and then you got to switch oil all the time. So this way, we're just going to do,
She wants to see how much oil. Nicki's
okay, Meri,
curious.
you're going to cut the fish now.
Going to cut the fish. How do we cut this?
You're going to cut it halfway down like that, and then into cubes about that big.
Just check. So cubes.
So Susie, do you have a trick as to when you know the oil is ready at the right temperature?
I can see it. You see when you shake it a little bit, you can see little ripples. It's not ready yet, so it won't give you little ripples.
Okay.
Okay? That's pretty well. Another test you could do is take a piece of bread, like a cube, and toss it in. That should tell you. If it's too hot, then it's going to burn immediately. If it's too cold, it's going to sit there and...
Stefano.
Oh, okay. Yep, yep.
Susie, am I doing this right? Is that what you want?
Yep, perfect.
So Meri is cutting up the whitefish in small cubes,
Like that?
maybe 1 inch by 1 inch.
Yeah. If they're any bigger, I think I said 2 inches. If it's any bigger, then it's hard to eat. I like to eat one piece and
Ah.
done, right?
Does that work?
Oh, also, I think I mentioned to Meri.
Yes.
Yes, because we don't know the origin of
And this is very important to
this is
mention.
very important to the
Just-
show. I found, okay, I searched Polish recipes, and then I found this Polish fish and tomato and vegetable sauce, which is very similar. I have it with me, and they cook it a la grecque, so it's a Greek recipe. Have you heard of this?
So this is what we say, that everything came from the Greeks.
Everything.
The movie, we
Exactly.
learned that from the movie.
Just goes to show you that the Greeks did
Okay.
invent everything.
Correct.
You can,
Give me a word, any Greek word.
it's from the root.
Scumbria.
Yeah, it would be.
Comes from the word skupa, which means broom.
There's the word for the Polish fish dish.
Oh, interesting.
A la grec.
A la grec, see?
Riba.
Riba po greku. Greek.
Greek style. Greek style.
That's all
I'll
that
leave it right here
matters.
if
It's
anybody
Greek.
wants to look at it.
Psari. So, psari. Psari.
Sawed.
Psari.
Okay, from the
Psari.
Estonian sawed to fish around islands, right?
We had to take something from the Estonians, I guess.
Oh, we're going back there again. Okay. Here, I can move
that
this
okay?
if you want. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm going to season the flour with my salt and imaginary pepper.
This looks like Greek salt.
Really?
Kolos.
Well, look at that.
Is that,
Palace comes from
am I right?
And
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
that fish is gala.
Kala.
So,
Kala, salt,
know, yeah.
kala.
saltfish, yeah.
So the Estonian word for fish would be the first four letters, kala.
Kala.
And kolos, I assume, is a
Greek-
brand name, someone.
A brand name, yes, salt.
But from the Mediterranean, Mary?
It is the Mediterranean, yes.
High in iodine?
Very high.
Okay, so we are going to coat this. You can do this, actually. See.
I would love to do that.
Okay, and then dip it in the egg and back into the flour. I usually do it in batches, like 8 pieces,
Throw it in
Egg.
and then just batter it
Yeah.
back and forth.
like that.
Excellent.
Make a huge mess.
Save some time.
You can fish it out with a fork or something. Tongs.
Tongue.
And what I usually do is put it on a parchment-lined paper because it gets really sticky.
And then just, you do it the
Yeah, after
flour
that's
once,
done.
right?
Yeah.
And then just
It's
put it
right
here. Excellent.
Is there any other fish that you use, Susie? Is whitefish your favorite for
You can
scumbria?
use whitefish, tilapia, anything that holds together. My favorite is halibut, but
Okay.
that's really expensive, very expensive.
Cod?
Cod, yeah, but that's also overfished. So I tend to stay away from the overfished stuff.
Okay.
There's no need for it. Haddock, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's still okay. You can use anything. You can use perch, but perch is a little flaky, so it doesn't hold as well.
I don't know how I'm doing here.
Mary's doing an excellent job
Yeah.
I
there.
don't know. I don't know if I'm doing next. I'm trying to go quick, but
Here. Okay. I'm going to come and grab some of these from you.
might have to get you to do it, Jaan.
I've grabbed your fish.
These ones are done.
Let's see if it's done. It's supposed to. Okay. If you want to come and see what's happening so you know
Yeah,
the
I
oil is
wanna-
okay. So you don't want it going, burning, but you want the bubbles around. This is at 1,000, so I don't know. This is a corridor. It's brand new to me, so I'm not 100% sure. So it's right. Don't overcrowd it. Yeah, it could go a little faster, actually. I'm going to go one more. You don't want it to soak up the oil. You want it just to cook, basically, and get crispy.
No. Eh?
All
I
right,
know,
Meri,
I know.
coming
I
back
put
here.
too much, sorry. I put too much egg.
Now, you don't have to bread it, necessarily. You can make scumbria if you're gluten intolerant or
Is it?
you can use rice flour if you want to coat and deep fry. It's a little more
Am I doing a
tender,
bad job, Nikki? I am.
so you have to watch the frying process a little bit more. Or you can use no flour, and you can just bake the fish. You can leave it whole if you want, but I kind of like it in our traditional stuff. Now, skumbria is not a very popular thing in Estonia, apparently. It's very popular here.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it came by boat, and this is really, like, every kulmlautas should have. Every cold buffet that we have should have this in it,
Vespina, fika pa.
right? It's more popular here. Yeah, that's what I understand. Yep.
How do you know when it's to turn them over?
When they're kind of golden brown.
Okay.
What did I? It does turn. See, that's kind of pinky gray. It does turn almost all white. It's a little. This type of fish is still a little bit gray. And it is holding together. Perch, as I said, might fall apart. And it takes a little longer than you think. I would think, okay, I would eat my fish now. It's not ready yet. I add a little, 1 to 2 minutes, and then I know. And you can always crack one open and see. Meri's doing a perfect job.
I'm trying.
Do you have little dough balls at the end of your fingers?
I do.
You've done this before,
I
Meri.
figured, as Susie says, we don't use tongs, we use our hands. So
So about that color. Now let's see. I'm going to check with one. Not quite. Do you see that it's not opaque? Not quite. We'll see what happens with that. It might still cook. It's still hot. Yeah. Let me take that one should be done.
you have some to Susie.
You like fish? Excellent. Do you like fish and ketchup? Because that's basically what my daughter Gatti calls it, fish and ketchup. Yeah, that was looking good. You can see on both sides it's cooked. Yeah.
Did I do a good
All right.
job on that?
Yep.
Did I do a good
perfect,
job? I don't know.
Perfect.
Perfect.
We don't need that anymore, the cutting board. I don't think.
Perfect. Excellent.
Okay, so leave lots of space so it doesn't stick together for one thing, and also it cooks evenly. It won't drop the temperature as much too. What was I going to say?
So we're going to serve it here,
Probably
right?
needs leave that there for now. So after this is cooled, we start layering it. I usually put it in a glass jar or bowl so you can see the layers and the fish. It's kind of pretty. And then you chill it for about 4 hours covered. No, it's good for a week usually. It gets better. Yeah, so I prefer to make it 2 days in advance, and then it's like, for me, that's good. No, that's just a sauce. It really, I don't find that it penetrates anything except for this breading. Yeah, in my mind. There's egg in the
the
breading.
egg wash, just in the
Yeah,
breading.
we put flour, then egg, and then flour.
Kills.
Yep. Some things, you're allowed.
So this is a cold dish.
Yep.
Is it? Okay. So after you fry it, you put the sauce, which is cold?
Yeah. You can put it on when it's hot. It does.
Oh,
yeah,
so
it's
put it on
fine.
when it's hot?
Hot or cold.
And then you said it just keeps in the fridge?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. It's Gonna be on special tomorrow at Masters.
Yeah? You should use this for appetizers
There you go.
Monday. Why not? I'll bring it to choir. Okay, so you get it? I guess we'll cook the rest of it too.
Throw them all in and then.
Yeah. Oh, when you're putting it into oil also, always put it in this direction. Otherwise, if you put it this way, it could
Splashed.
splash up to you. And that's,
A
you
good
gotta be
tip.
quick. Or use tongs, but the tongs get really, really messy. Okay. Now, should we try the scumbria?
Let's
while
try.
this is finishing. Oh, and the can of mackerel and tomato sauce. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to confess to something. I ate the weirdest thing. It didn't turn out to be as weird as I thought. I ate seal a couple weeks ago. I made it, it was raw, like frozen product. We got it and defrosted it. I made hamburger out of it. Just by chopping, added like a pound of bacon and onions, garlic, and cooked it halfway so it was raw in the middle and cooked on the outside, and it was absolutely delicious, just so you know.
Raw
Seal.
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 Yeah, you know those cute little
Yeah, they're
animals?
so cute, I know, but I couldn't think of that. I had to try it.
But this was a grown-up seal, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wasn't one of those baby ones.
That makes it better.
Oh, I don't know, but they're so. I mean, they're killing the fishing industry, especially in northern Quebec, and they have to cull them. So what are you going to do with it, right? Dog food, people food. I don't know how you feel about that, but I was confessing. No lightning has come down yet. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody ate. Really? If you're using, like the flippers, I was eating the purest loin. There's absolutely no fat at all. It tastes like almost nothing. If you overcook it, it tends to taste a little bit like liver, but like a very mild liver.
Liver. Omega-3.
Omega-3,
really?
yes. Oh, very good. And manganese and all kinds of really great vitamins. Oh, yeah, that's why I'm so smart. I wasn't before. Just 2 weeks ago it started. Okay, so we're just going to layer that into... There. Just need to wash. Mary, would you mind going to get your slaves to get the fish dish that's on the counter? There's
Excellent.
not the dessert. You can tell it.
The fish.
One with the forks. It's hot.
That's hot. Let me take it to the back. I'll put it on the stove at the back.
So, I start with the sauce first.
Here, take this. Despina. Excellent. Wonderful.
I think my container is a little bit big for that amount of fish. Oh, don't forget to take your bay leaf out, of course, and all that. Yeah, we need more fish for this recipe, but it is for show. I think I cooked 8 fillets for today. It's not all there. Please come help yourselves. If it's not enough, I have lots more. so we're just covering it with sauce, and then you do another layer, as much fish as you have, and you end with the tomato sauce. That's fine.
So basically, you layer it, and,
Yep.
and what do you do
And
next?
that's it. Cover it
And
with
then you
plastic.
just cover it? Ah, okay.
Put it in the fridge.
And you put it in the fridge.
Couple
and
of
it's a
days.
cold.
Yep.
Awesome.
Mary, try some.
So, Susie, when you're finished,
Yep.
you're saying you then put it in the fridge for 2 days?
Yep. I cover it in saran wrap and put it in the fridge. Yeah. I mean, 1 day is fine too, but 2's better.
What short do you want? Do you want me to put more?
Should we get more?
Okay. Does everybody have one, or would you like me to get some more, Jaan? You haven't tried one. Let me get one from the back.
Did everybody,
I don't
Davi
think
didn't
they're
get
not put
some?
out.
I'll put it.
I think we're missing a couple.
Okay. I'll be 1 second.
So how's the scumbria? Everybody's nodding their heads?
Yeah.
Does anybody need any ouzo to go with their scumbria?
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Boom. Boom.
Can't really show it too much. But that's what it looks like.
So there you go, Jaan.
Oh,
Get
Thank
some
you.
for you.
Davi?
And that is
There you go,
scumbria.
Davi.
What do you think, Greek people? Yeah? Good.
I have to try some too and see what's.
Serve it with, Susie?
Rye bread and beer, or in a traditional Estonian cold buffet with all the other fish and shrimp and different salads. Nope.
No, it
Nope,
is a
it's fully
cold
cooked.
dish. Just cover it, Susie says, and place it in the oven, and that's it. Not in the oven, in the fridge. And it's
Yep.
a dish that could be
Let it sit in the fridge for 2 days.
2 days
And
before
it's
you
good
eat
for a
it.
week.
So 2
You
days
can eat it.
before you eat it, right? You can't.
Yeah.
You don't eat it right away,
Yeah,
or
it just kind of, just tastes better and settles down. And yeah. In what way? Like in Toronto, or that's from Fresco, in the frozen section. Yep. Yeah, it's called Basta and $2.49 for 2 fillets.
can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Can't go
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's Portuguese. Yeah.
I can,
Anybody want to try this? Or give it to the cat? I don't know.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Okay, well, we can look at
I
it.
think we're happy with the. See, the Greeks learned something today. And we thought we knew everything. It's delicious.
I need 2 pots for the next
Okay, so
session.
let's wash up
Yeah.
2 pots, right?
Those.
So you're gonna stir. You need this as well.
I put you on mute.
and now, dessert. Everybody's been very well behaved. As a reward, you get dessert. So Susie's going to show how to make a specific Estonian dessert. Some people call it Bubert. I call it floating islands. I thought it was floating island. I stand corrected. Floating islands, that's right. But Susie's already done that, right? Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. We can do that. Anyone for some more ouzo? Oh, one brave person. So I told them, Susie, that the reward for hanging around this long, dessert.
Okay. Wait, I missed something? What?
I thought it was floating islands like Bubert. Yeah, I was hoping for floating islands.
Floating Islands doesn't have them on mine.
Okay.
More egg white. So we're going to start with Bubert isn't really out yet, so I get the frozen time from fresh to 3.99. My favorite. On? Okay. All right, into this we put in sugar. And water. And for this amount. Now 6 cups of white sugar is a lot for this, so you can always add later. I'm going to put in 3 cups and then taste it, because I find, like I said, you're going to try it shortly, is a little sweet. Okay? Anyway, we're just doing this for show anyway, right? And water, 4 cups.
I was wondering if, this could be like a Canadian Greek kind of dish or fusion, What if you added some ouzo?
Ooh. Ouzo in the Kissell. That would be delicious, I think. We should try that. That'd be good.
We're inventing Greek Estonian fusion as we sit here.
Grestonian.
Crestonian, yeah.
Or eek. I don't know. Okay, so we're just putting everything into the pot, boiling it down for about half an hour, and we're not going to wait for that. And then I'm just going to show you sort of what to do, but I'm going to fake it, okay? So potato starch here. Potato starch, you have to dissolve in cold water, must be cold, and this has to be really, really hot. So about 3 tablespoons, it ends up being like a quarter cup. I need a spoon or something, or a fork. If you put it into warm water, you'll get lumps. If you get, that's okay. If you get lumps, you can't get it out because you've got chunks of rhubarb floating around. You're not going to go fishing for the lumps, and they're disgusting. I mean, unless you like tapioca, which is pretty well what it is. So completely dissolved. And this is boiling, okay? And you just stream it in like that, stirring all the while. I don't use a whisk for this, sorry. And I like my wooden spoon square. This is from Gazmo, by the way, because you can get the, woo, that's going in. You can get everything on the bottom. You've got more surface area to not burn things, basically.
The Finnish place also has.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Anyway, that's Kissell, okay? We'll be trying that in a minute. Now, Bubert. Now you're talking more about that?
Okay. Where does the word Bubert come from?
Biret? Yes, that's what I read too. Germanic, yeah.
That could be because Sweden was also governing Estonia for quite a number of years, and Swedish is also a Germanic language.
Okay, interesting.
Did we have the German land barons? There are two German barons.
Gluten-free.
Yes. Gluten-free is kind of your Uivatsaret. That's the floating island, sort of. This is a different, we're doing this with cream of wheat, which we call manna. And you make a porridge, and then you fluff it up by using beaten eggs and egg yellows and then egg whites. And it sounds kind of weird and gross, and it's delicious. It's called, well, Bubert, right? That's an odd name. Okay, so we are heating milk. You can use any kind of milk. I've tried it with almond milk and with soy and lactose-free. It all works. Okay? And we're just going to wait for that. We have to beat up. I've already pre-beaten some egg whites. I add a little bit of sugar to it so it holds a little bit better, but it doesn't hold for 2 hours, obviously. So you want very thick and foamy. And you want to, when you're beating eggs, you get very strong, first of all, because you have to do it for a long time. And you have to get as much air in there as possible. So you're constantly moving it, shaking it, moving it around. If you do it in one spot, it'll take you a lot longer. That's pretty good, actually. So it should be a little bit long, but it'll be fine. Now we're going to beat up. Can you rinse that for me? The milk is almost at a boil. I'm going to add a pinch of salt to it for flavor. Thank you. I'm using a half recipe because there's so few of us and we don't want it to go to waste. So I'm just cutting everything in half so I can actually think about what I'm doing. So I use 3 eggs instead of 5. Meri, you can beat these with the sugar. Now the cream of wheat that we're using is this. I think everybody recognizes this packages, sort of, if you eat porridge. This is the 3-minute kind, also because of TV time. And there is an instant one. I didn't try that, but there's you can use semolina or just the original kind of ground, or like a coarser ground, which takes a lot longer to cook, not 7 to 10 minutes. Yep, zabayon. Yep. We want it to look like that, but yellow. Yep. So, for the cream of wheat, which is... Yep. Yep. And then you boil it in juice, basically. And then beat it. Keep on going. I'm not even looking, I know. Just keep on going. Yeah. Oh, that's awful. It's very close, very close. It's very pale yellow, and this is called in Italian zabayon. So it comes out like in a thin ribbon, but it's silky smooth and glossy, and it's... I'm putting the grated lemon rind for added flavor. You've got it. Yep. Yeah. And some vanilla. And once this is just kind of back to the heat, we need the whisk. Sorry, I need that. Okay, thank you. We're going to put this in a very thin stream, whisking constantly. Just like that. Keep on going. That's the vanilla, I think. So this is also very inexpensive. Well, I mean, the Estonian diet had to be inexpensive. There's nothing to eat. Never had to get inventive also, and you only had, especially in the winter, a very limited supply of anything, right? Grains and... I heard that gama came out of invention also, like this blend of grains and things, like, because there was nothing. This is going to cook for 3 minutes, and then we're going to go, even though it's hot, we're going to put in the eggs. They've already actually cooked because there's sugar in here. With the friction, you can eat this, okay? Same with the egg whites. I put a little bit of sugar in there too friction cooks it, and then it's going to cook just a tiny, tiny bit here. You don't want to leave the cream of wheat, and stir it constantly. I had to try this past couple of weeks because that bit made me make this. No, it's fun. I did all kinds of different things, and yeah. The almond one is you can actually taste the almonds in it, and then I guess you can garnish it with almonds too, but for general purposes, you don't want to bring nuts into any sort of... I did put vanilla in. Yeah. Or the ouzo. Yeah. We can put that in. Yeah, taste the original and then put a little drop of ouzo in your bowl. You can call it bouzo. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty good. First, we're going to put in the egg. We're going to add a little bit of the porridge into the egg. It's called tempering. So it'll heat up the egg, but not to the point that it is going to be scrambled. Okay? If you put it directly in there, you're going to have pieces of egg everywhere. It won't be smooth. So now it's a lot more liquidy, but this will work. And you just fold it in. So those that are not interested in cream of wheat, you can also do this with just flour. And you do the egg part. You add about 6 tablespoons of flour, according to this recipe, to the milk, and then you follow that. So, yeah, if you don't like the cream of wheat, it still works. It's a lot lighter and fluffier, and more like your islands. Okay, so no scrambled eggs. And this, I'm leaving it on the heat because there's still a bit of residual heat. It's going to just bring it over that, make sure it's cooked stage. Thank you. Now with the kissell, especially rhubarb, the act of stirring it and boiling it that long, it actually reduces so much. There's very little big pieces, so it's a nice consistency. If you don't like pieces, you can strain it if you want. There, like fluffy, light, all one color. Okay? And that gets chilled as well. So the kissell gets chilled, this gets chilled, and then magic. You can try it if you like. No, not yet?
Put some ouzo in it.
Yeah, then maybe, yeah. Okay, yep. Thank you. Please come and help yourselves. That's Costco. Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
Yeah, this is not bad. This is maybe $8 or $10, I think.
Who would like some ouzo?
Try without first. Or not. I'll take the small one. Thank you. What do you think? Different? Okay. Yeah, that's my favorite. Oh, and you can mix up anything. You can put like rhubarb and strawberry. Thank you. Blueberry is my favorite. Blueberry. It's not bad. Yeah.
I can add something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got to try it.
If you add ouzo, then it's real Greek Estonian.
That's our fusion confusion, right? Yep. So that's our show. Great. It's taped. You can see it again.
Everybody's going to finish their Bubert. And then we've come to the end of the show.
Thank you for coming.
But I told you the, the dessert would be well worth the wait, right?
Yeah.
Are there any questions from the audience? Yeah. There's lots left, yes. The answer is yes.
Mike.
I wanted to ask you, you use the potato starch.
Yes,
Is it okay to use cornstarch?
you can use it. I went for the authentic, and I know I tried the cornstarch as well. It's just a little bit shinier, I guess. But I think that with the potato, it somehow had more volume. So, I mean, either one does work, though. It's just to thicken it a little bit. And you want to cook that out for, just you'll taste the starch in either case. So like 5, maybe 10 minutes, depending on how much you're making, to cook that out. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've had a marvelous afternoon. And it's too bad more people didn't show up, but that's their problem, right? We had a very lovely, intimate afternoon where we learned about Greek food. We learned about Estonian food. And I think we're all a little bit smarter. We appreciate, I think, the other cuisine. But overall, I think this was a wonderful way to spend an afternoon. I think we should do it again. But before we leave and we end up, let's have a special round of applause for Nicki, Meri, and Susi.
Thank you.
So I really think they did a great job in introducing us to their recipes, showed us how to do it, and then the finished product that they provided us was just fantastic. Thank you, Meri. Thank you, Susi.
Thank you, Jaan.
Thank you, Nicki. And have a great Saturday night.